Welcome to the 7 Success Habits of Homeschoolers. This series is my homeschool-specific adaptation of Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. My name is Alison Moore-Smith, and I homeschooled our 6 kids for over 27 years. After a number of years presenting this in conferences, I compiled it into a book. This presentation on YouTube will be done pretty much like a conference talk. Although you aren't here live, think of it as a personal chat with a little editing and a few tangents. We'll go through the book chapter by chapter, hopefully giving you all the information you need to dive right in. If you'd prefer a more concise written form, you can grab the book on Amazon in softcover, Kindle, or you can read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. There's a link in the description. As new chapters are added, they'll also be linked in the description and added to the 7 Success Habits of Homeschoolers playlist. Now on to Habit 1, change your mindset. This is foundational to beginning to form an educational philosophy for your family. Education is probably not what you think it is. Public school is an institution. It's not synonymous with education. So first ask yourself, why are you homeschooling? Or why are you considering homeschooling? Maybe you plan to do it all along. I have a couple of kids who actually planned to homeschool before they even had kids. Possible, more possible today than when I started. But it's still more likely that you're desperate, that you're doing it because you don't see an alternative or a solution to your problem. For some reason, school isn't meeting your child's needs or yours or the family's. Maybe you have a very bright child who's very advanced. Maybe you have a child with a learning disability whose needs are not being met. Maybe your child's learning style just doesn't fit the way things are taught in a typical classroom. Perhaps you have uncommon talents or interests and you want time for your child to develop them. Sometimes there are racial issues or religious issues or just values conflicts. I know people who started because the environment in the school was dangerous. Sometimes there were pervasive cliques, teaching deficiencies, insufficient materials. Maybe the family moved a lot or the distance to the school was too great. I've seen peer pressure, I've seen family crises, all sorts of reasons why homeschooling might be on the table. Once you've figured out why this is a possibility for you, which gives you a foundation for thinking about what problems need to be solved, try to avoid what I call the 3 big mistakes in the transition from a public school to a homeschool. The first is, don't mimic the public school model. If you remember my introduction, me on the plane scribbling notes, a lot of that was making a schedule, a very specific schedule, a start time, an end time, a time incremental for every subject, every day, and a time for lunch, and a time for recess. Everything was very regimented as it was in school. I even had a friend who began homeschooling her kindergartner about the same time I did. And when it became time to start each school day, they walked out the front door of their house, walked around the cul-de-sac, walked back into the schoolroom, rang a little bell, and then started school. Now, for a 5-year-old, this actually might be fun. But if you feel like that has to be done because there's a bell that rings at school and you go in a different door, stop and think for a minute. Not everything that happens in the public school needs to be replicated at your home. You don't need little desks with attached chairs. I mean, if you want to, cool, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to have a blackboard or a whiteboard or whatever they use now. You don't have to have a little teacher desk up in front with an apple on it. So avoid thinking you have to mimic something just because that's what you saw. The second big mistake is to completely discard the public school model. Some people have had such bad experiences that they're averse to anything remotely related to public school. And so they throw out anything that to them looks like public school. Now, the truth is, you don't need to do that either. There are some valuable things that have been learned in the decades of public school. So look at those things and see what things would actually be beneficial to you and your family. And the third big mistake, once you dive into the homeschooling arena, is some people still feel so out of sorts and out of their element that they will just cling to the latest homeschooling fad or the latest homeschooling curriculum or the latest homeschooling method. This is what people are talking about now. This is what my neighbor's doing. I got to do this, or my kids are going to be ruined. Things are going to be terrible. My kid's going to be stupid, whatever. Sit back, take some time, make sure everything fits your family. So instead of any of those three ways, there's a better way. And that is to just question everything you think you know about education. Step back, take a breath, and think through it. Question everything you hear, everything you read, in addition to everything you think or thought. And then accept or reject things based on value. When you find something that you think might work or think would be beneficial, test it out before you completely throw your whole family into it or spend a lot of money. Is the idea logically sound? Does it actually make sense? Apart from all the claims and testimonials, does it make sense to you? Does it align with your values? Does the idea you're considering actually fit with your family and current life situation? For example, your family size, the ages of your kids. Who teaches? What's your home situation like? What's your neighborhood like? What's your teaching style? What's your kids' learning style? Once you've honed it down to something that's logical and fits your values, does it actually fit your family? Does it actually fit your kids? And does it fit you too? That's okay. And then proceed with questioning. Keep revisiting those questions as you go on. Do your past positions still fit? Do the things you thought would work still work? You can adjust. Why are you homeschooling or thinking about homeschooling? What mistakes and remedies have you found yourself? Please share your thoughts. I'll see you in the next installment. Habit 2, define well-educated.